Okay, so today we're going to have our discussion regarding the topic of the self. Okay, so ayan. So ayan, so I hope nakikita niyo ang aking screen. So the two lectures that we're going to discuss would be from your Philosophy of Man by D. Meron siyang inattach doon na two readings, particularly My Body by Calarans and A Note and Embodiment by Cruz. Okay. So more likely, this is an extension of what we have previously discussed. If you could remember the phenomenology method, the phenomenological method, pinag-usapan na din natin halos yung mga ibang parts dito na nag-a-apply sa ating topic when it comes to this lesson. Okay. So when it talks about body according kay Kalarans is usually when asking the question, who am I, di ba? We usually answer this question in reference to our body. Definitely when you ask who is Ma'am Sara is 5 feet, black hair, um, uh, maliit, and so on and so forth. Because that is very obvious, diba? The first thing that you notice when you meet someone is their body because that is the most public thing na nakikita natin. On the other hand naman, yung mind natin, ang mind natin is something that is private. Okay, the only way that we could know what is inside the mind of a person if that person, okay, talks to you and talagang ni-reveal niya kung ano nasa isip niya. And alam naman natin, hindi all the time na kung anong sinasabi ng tao is yung mismo laman ng utak niya. Okay, because some other people would lie and some other people ay may hard time silang expressing themselves through language. So, yes, typically when we answer the question, who am I, the body is the first thing that we use to answer it. Okay, pero, yun nga, if you could look at my laser pointer, but there are times too that I know that I am not just my body. I recognize an intimate relation of myself with my body and thus truly say I am my body. Yet on the other hand, I also know that I cannot reduce my full humanity to my body. Okay, I think I have mentioned this to Marcel before, his paradox of his existential fulcrum. 'Di ba? Kaya nga meron siyang difference between the primary and secondary because the primary reflection reveals that there are scientific ideas, okay, regarding our historicity that reflects what is a human body. And sometimes yung historicity na to or facticity in relation with our body does not define who we are. 'Di ba? Halimbawa, when you say Sarah is Asian, Sarah is Catholic, okay, Sarah has this like medyo kayumangging skin type, it is not enough to actually encapsulate the whole you. Okay? 'Di ba? Kaya nga sinabi ni Marcel in our previous discussion, yes, I am my body, pero at the same time, I am not just my body because I go beyond that. Okay. Ito yung sinasabi dito ni Kalarans. I'm also spirit and will. My body is only something I have. I have my body. Okay. So bago tayo pumunta doon, definitely kasi alam niyo na si Marcel, magandang pag-usapan muna natin, ano ba yung mga classical views of the body? Number one, syempre si Plato. Isa siya sa mga unang nagsalita about body, although before him, may mga pre-Socratic philosophers that has mentioned their concept of the body, pero syempre ang nangingibabaw yung mga Golden Trio. Sabi ni Plato, particularly his work in Phaedrus, sorry, is that he used the metaphor of the two-winged horses or the charioteer in reference to a soul. And a charioteer or a whole chariot is a reference or a metaphor to a body. Kasi sinasabi lang niya dito, ang charioteer kasi na kwento niya dito is, ang katawan daw natin is parang chariot. Okay? Na may two horses. Isang horse is, sabi natin, appetite. Yung isa naman, spirit. Okay? Pag wala daw charioteer, ang chariot na yon, yung dalawang horses daw na yon ay pupunta-punta lang kahit saan. Di ba? To the extent na maaring madiskrasya yung charioteer. Pero kapag doon nagkaroon ng chariot, okay? Pero kapag nagkaroon na daw ito ng charioteer or yung nagko-control ng horse, di ba magkakaroon ng harmony kung saan pupunta yung dalawang horses na yon. Because meron na nagko-control. Yun ang explanation ni Plato of what is a body. Because para kay Plato, ang body natin or ang soul natin is composed of body and soul, definitely. And the soul has the rational part, which is the chariot tear. Okay. On the other hand naman, the body, which is the irrational part, is composed of spirit and appetite. Yung spirit and appetite na yun, ito yung dalawang horses. So kapag hindi kinokontrol ni reason, si spirit and appetite, para itong chariot na walang charioteer. Okay, yun nga. One is sensible and flies high to the heavens, to the light of truth and goodness. The other comes from a bad breed, and because of neglect and sinfulness, had lost his wings and fallen to earth to assume human form. Okay. Actually, ayoko na masyadong palalimin pa kung paano nagkaroon ng katawan yung tao because meron siyang theory of demiurge on how it came to be. Yun nga. Ang mahalaga lang dito kung ano ba konsepto ng katawan ni Plato. Yun nga, the taking of a human body is an unfortunate accident and a cruel imprisonment of the free and pure soul. Kasi ang isa sa mga theory niya and how human end up having a body is because um I'm not I'm not quite sure kung ano talagang term niya. Hindi siya imprisonment eh. Pero parang nagkaroon na lang tayo bigla ng katawan just like how inevitable yung shadow sa cave. Okay, nagkaroon tayo ng katawan at ito ang reason kung bakit tayo nagkaroon ng spirit and appetite resulting this imperfectness natin. Okay. Sa Phaedo naman, on the other hand, sabi din ni Plato, the true philosopher strive to evade his body. Yun nga, as much as possible, dapat si reason, okay, or si soul ang nagko-control kay spirit and appetite. Because, ayun nga, ayaw ni Plato na si spirit and appetite ang magko-control because that is irrational thing accordingly kay Plato. And the only best way for a body to function is for the rationality to take over. Yun nga, the soul can best reflect when it is free of all distractions such as hearing or sight or pain or pleasure of any kind. When it ignores the body and becomes as far as possible independent. Kaya nga, isa ding mga bagay na gusto ni Plato na isang purpose ng life ng isang tao, aside from the reason controlling the spirit and appetite when it comes to the soul or a human person, isang bagay din na pinupush ni Plato is the recollection or the intuition, yun nga, of the forgotten forms. Kasi nagkatawan daw tayo, nakalimutan daw natin lahat ng forms natin. Okay, kasi nagkaroon tayo ng body and the body itself limits us. Pero daw, through education, we could recall that forms. Okay? At as much as possible, gusto ni Plato maalala natin yung forms kasi nga, di ba, ito yung pinaka-perfect, di ba, na thing sa buong mundo. Hindi yung body. Kaya nga, usually, pag sinabi natin si Plato, more likely gusto ni Plato, mag-isip ka lang. Okay? Um, ang body, well, may body ka, wala tayong magagawa doon. Pero ang pinaka-important kay Plato would be the recollection or the intangible world. Okay. Kay Aristotle naman, on the other hand, since Aristotle reacted towards Plato, di ba? Naniniwala si Aristotle na ang body and soul are the same thing. There is no distinction between the two of them. Okay. Para sa kanya, ang body and soul is like the relationship between subject and predicate. Because para sa kay Aristotle, the matter, okay, or the body, or yun nga, matter or body, and the form or the soul is like the subject and predicate. Yung si subject, ito si matter, or yun nga, it could be equal to body, and the form is like the predicate or the soul. Okay, kasi daw when we look at things like an apple, meron daw tayo na abstract na certain ideas or characteristics dun sa apple na yon na reference doon sa form. Okay. Kaya halimbawa pag sinabi natin apple is red, so you are referring sa matter, yung apple kasi matter yung apple, and yung red is a form of the apple. So more likely, kay Aristotle, since body and soul ay same lang, okay, kung ano man sinasabi mo in relation to the body, is nakikita mo kasi sa body, just like the apple. Kaya nasabi mong apple is red because nakita mo yung redness sa apple, kaya nagkaroon ka ng statement na apple is red. So anything that is in relation with matter or form ay nasa isang bagay lang. Hindi mo na kailangan pumunta pa beyond. Okay, man is the whole of his body and soul. There is no sense in asking if body and soul are one. The relation of body to the soul is the relation of matter to form. Just like yung sinabi ko nga sa inyo, subject and predicate, because syllogism. Okay, yun talaga yung purpose ni Aristotle doon. There is no matter that is not informed by form. Definitely, kasi naniniwala si Aristotle na kaya ka nagkakaroon ng form, it's because you perceive the matter first. Wala dong product ng mind natin na hindi natin na-experience beforehand. And no form that is not the form of matter. So, lagi silang connected. Okay, so pag may naisip kang form, lagi doon yung produkto ng matter, at kapag may nakita ka namang matter, lagi siyang connected sa form because lahat yun napoproduce because of matter. The body and soul of man are two aspects of the whole man. Ayoko na explain kung ano yung parts of or what is the concept of a human body according to Aristotle, pero more likely, nire-refer lang niya kasi sa body niya is just like Plato pero hindi separate. Okay, hindi separate sa kanya. In the anima, sa work niya, there seems to be no case in which the soul can act or be acted upon without involving the body. Kasi nga, according kay Aristotle, same lang sila. Okay. Thinking seems the most probably exception. Okay. But if these two proves to be a form of imagination or to be impossible without imagination, it too requires a body as a condition of its existence. So yun nga, kahit nga iniisip natin, kahit mga abstract thoughts natin, kahit nga imagination, produkto pa rin yan ng katawan natin because Aristotle is somewhat empiricist nga siya. Although hindi pa nag-exist yung empiricism during his time, pero siya yung unang nag-isip nun. Okay, na ang body and form natin or body and soul natin are not separate. They are just one. Okay? And if anything that you will know about your body, okay, um, it is that, okay, malalaman natin lahat sa katawan natin. Kay St. Augustine naman, on the other hand, ang konsepto ng katawan niya is just like Plato. Kasi si St. Augustine is inadopt niya yung filosofiya ni Plato, okay, ginawa niya itong Christianized Plato, yung kanyang filosofiya. In City of God, he mentioned man can be divided into body and soul. And no doubt, the soul is more real and important. Para kasi kay St. Augustine, yung soul, well, and soul and body is related siya, pero si soul mismo ang nagbibigay buhay sa body. Okay? So, basically, ang body kay St. Augustine, patay siya. Okay? So, yun nga, in order for a body to become a body, dapat may soul siya. In order for a soul to become a soul, dapat may body siya. Pero kasi naniniwala si St. Augustine that before we have our body, just like kay Plato, okay, kasama natin si God sa heavens, okay, at nagkaroon tayo ng katawan. At yung nagkaroon tayo ng katawan, syempre dito na pumasok yung mga imperfectness. Kaya ang purpose ng buhay natin is to go back to God. Just like kay Plato, ang purpose ng buhay natin is to remember or to recall, okay, yung ating world of forms, kasi yun naman talaga, inadapt lang siya ni St. Augustine. Pero basically, ang body and soul niya is in relation to God. Na yun nga, the charioteer is not a charioteer without the horse. Similarly, the soul is not a soul if it is not the soul of a body. Because yun nga, si soul ang nagbibigay life sa ating body. Man is the unity of body and soul and he can exist only in this unity. Because si soul nga ang nagbibigay buhay kay body. Okay. Kay St. Thomas Aquinas naman, okay, in Summa Theologiae, soul is not man. For just as it belongs to nature of particular man to be composed of this soul, of this flesh, and of these bones, so it belongs to the nature of man to be composed of soul, flesh, and bone. Okay, though body is not part of the essence of the body, okay, nevertheless, the very essence of soul inherently needs to be one with the body. So same lang din siya. So hindi mo din masaseparate yung body and soul. Actually, halos same lang sila ng concept ni St. Augustine when it comes to body and soul. Okay, magkasama sila. Pero yun nga, lagi silang, same din siya kay St. Augustine na ang soul ang nagbibigay ng function kay body. Without the soul, si body is non-living organism. Okay, so patay siya. Okay, same lang sila. So, yun nga, nakikita natin ang konsepto ng body, ay ng self, both of these two philosophers is composed of body and soul. Okay. Kay René Descartes naman, dito medyo na nagbago. Okay, kasi kay René Descartes, if you're quite familiar with him, is tinatry niya magkaroon ng systematic start ang philosophy. Okay? At para sa kanya, in order for the philosophy to have that systematic start, is that we have to remove the uncertainty sa philosophy or in reality. Kasi kaya nagkakaroon ng ganitong mindset si Rene Descartes because, 'di ba, after the medieval period, 'di ba, alam naman natin yung problema sa medieval period, it is called Dark Ages for a reason because lahat ng knowledge natin ay putol. Okay, tinaray ni Rene Descartes na magkaroon ng another starting point ng philosophy and he did that in his meditation on first philosophy. At na-prove niya na ang only certain daw sa mundo natin is the self. Okay, yun nga, in his first meditation, he states that the methodic doubt, we should doubt all that we know because first they come from our senses. Alam naman niyo yun, di ba? Usually sinasabi ko in our previous discussion, kaya madalas yung mga philosopher ayaw nila ng senses or the material world because it is subject to change. And every time na ang isang senses or world ay subject to change, definitely um hindi siya magandang source of knowledge kasi babago-bago eh. Okay, yun nga. First, they come from our senses, which can be mistaken or can deceive us. Second, this can be just the result of a dream. Yun nga, tinatry kasi ni Rene Descartes maghanap ng systematic foundation ng philosophy at sabi niya hindi daw magandang starting point ng senses, yung like empiricism because it always change. And two, yung senses daw na nakikita natin or mga taong nakikita natin, pwedeng panaginip lang. Okay, sa second meditation, dito naman yung na-realize na may isang bagay lang tayong makikita na certain pag ginamit natin yung methodic doubt. Even if I use methodic doubt, there is one truth that I cannot deny or doubt. Yun nga yung I think, therefore I am. Kasi sabi niya, yes, I can dream. Di ba? I can doubt my dream. Okay? And the senses can can deceive me. Pero yun nga, may laging nagre-receive nito. May taong laging nagdi-dream, may taong laging nagdi-deceive. At yung tao na yun, ito lang yung tanging certain na yun. Even if I fully deny or doubt this, I only prove by my denial of my existence, and doubt that I am a thinking and existing. Even if I doubt myself, okay, mayroong pa rin nagda-doubt ng self ko. So, yun yung sinabi niyang I, yung cogito. Kasi you cannot doubt the doubter. You cannot doubt the, the one that is being deceived. Kasi may nakaka-receive pa rin ng deception na yun. So, sino yun? Ito yung sinabi ni Rene Descartes na self. Okay. But what is this which I have proven to exist? And his answer, I thinking being, yun nga, res cogitans, it is a being which doubts, which understands, which affirms, which denies, which which regrets, which imagines, and also which perceives. So kahit doubtful daw lahat ng nakikita natin na re-receive natin, okay, meron pa rin nagre-receive niyan. Ito daw si self or si cogito. In the last meditation, even if we can prove the reality of the world and material things, the real essence of man is still different from his body. Okay? As I soon show, I have a body with which I am very closely united. Yun nga, ang tanging problema lang kay Rene Descartes, di ba? Yes, he have proven that I think, therefore I am, or meron talagang cogito. Ang naging problema lang dito kay Rene Descartes, kasi from the cogito itself, okay, tinaray na niyang i-prove yung external world, yung body, okay, yung God. But the problem is, hindi niya pa rin siya naduktong ng maayos. Okay? Actually, before he proves the body, okay, pinrove mo niyang my God. Kasi the only thing that is certain, according to Rene Descartes, is there is a perfect being. Sabi niya. Okay, and this perfect being must be God because or this perfect being should exist because the idea of perfectness exists. Okay? Bawal mo din daw sabihin na ang isang bagay ay hindi nag-exist at the same time perfect. So sinabi niya, since I have an idea of perfect and I cannot deny that there is a perfectness in the world, there must be God. And with the help of God, di ba, hinihelp niyang i-reinforce yung mga konsepto niyang na-prove niya from the cogito ergo sum. Maganda example dito yung body. Okay. Yun nga, ang maganda example na ginawa ni Rene Descartes dito, halimbawa kapag natisod ka. Pag natisod ka, nasaktan ka, you can doubt that you are in pain. You can actually doubt na natisod ka. Pero, yun nga, kahit i-doubt mo yun, totoo pa rin yung pain na nararamdaman mo. Kasi nare-receive siya ng self mo eh. Di ba? Kahit sabi mo panaginip lang yung pain na yun, masakit pa rin yung pain. Kasi sinabi ni Rene Descartes, Well, ibig sabihin, merong nagre-receive ng pain. Ito yung katawan ko. Kasi definitely our soul does not receive pain, pero yung katawan natin nakaka-receive. Sabi ni Rene Descartes, yung sensation of the pain itself cannot be doubted. Kasi totoo yan sa atin eh. Di ba? Pero since ganun pala, may nakaka-receive ng pain. At maaring legs natin yon, maaring braso natin yon, and so on and so forth. And at the same time, meron din nag-cause ng pain. Yun nga yung halimbawa, Lego na naapakan nyo. Natisod kayo, di ba? Halimbawa, legs na upuan. And from that on, di ba, hindi mo din madadoubt na, uy, panaginip lang yung chair na yun. Pwede. Pero kasi, sino ngayon ang nag-cause ng pain sa'yo sa pagtalison mo? So, dapat nag exist din yung object na yun. Kasi yung pain sa'yo ay true. So, from that on, na-prove din niya, aside from I have a body that is an extension of my soul, I also have, meron din tayo external world. At tandaan natin, nire-reinforce yun ng God. Ayoko na masyadong explain yun kasi masyadong madugo yun. Pero yun nga. And from that on, doon yun na-realize na may body ako at may soul ako. They are connected because every time there is something happening in my body, nare-receive ni soul. Okay. Ayun. Pero the thing is, yes, they are connected, pero at the same time, they are different. Okay. Yun nga, nevertheless, since on the one hand, I have a clear, distinct idea of myself, insofar as I am only a thinking and not an extended being, okay, and since on the other hand, I have a distinct idea of body, insofar it is only an extended being, which does not think, it is certain that this I, my soul, by virtue of which I am what I am, is entirely distinct from my body, and that it can be or exist without it. So nakikita natin dito, nakikita natin dito na separate yung soul sa body. Sinasabi ni Aristotle, ni Rene Descartes na ang soul is non-extended kasi nga soul yung mismong pinaka-starting point. Ito yung talaga yung pinaka-certain sa atin. Yung on the other hand naman, yung body natin, extended siya because everything that we felt within the soul is being extended to the body. Okay? So, anything that we experience from the soul and being experienced by our body is rather an extension. Okay? And the other thing from that, di ba, ang soul ay hindi siya reducible in certain parts. On the other hand naman, yung body natin can be reduced in certain parts. Kaya extended in like hands, feet, and legs. Hindi natin magagawa sa soul yun. Alam natin ang soul is a whole siya. Hindi natin siya pwedeng hiwalay-hiwalayin. Kaya distinct yung soul from the body. And from the mere fact yun nga, they have different properties, characteristics. Ibig sabihin, magkaiba sila. Okay, di ba? What makes X, di ba? As in letter X, the same as Y, they should have the same properties for them to be the same thing. And the thing is, body and soul, accordingly kay Aristotle na naman ako, kay Rene Descartes ay different because the soul is non-extended and the body is extended. Okay, definitely there are two different things because they have two different properties and characteristics. Sabi din dito, man's body is just a material thing, extended, such as does not seem to differ from a complex machine like a computerized robot. So yun nga, you can compare a body from a robot. Okay. This unity of the body and soul cannot be known and discussed by philosophy due to its inherent ambiguity. Actually, napakadaming tawag doon, sumunod na philosopher according kay Rene Descartes na tinatry nilang isalvage yung filosofiya ni Rene Descartes, particularly the problem of dualism. Actually, after Rene Descartes, tinry ni Rene Descartes, ano yan eh, sagutin ito using pineal gland. Kasi si Princess Elizabeth, I think that's her name, naging tutor niya si Rene Descartes at tinanong niya kay Rene Descartes kung magkaiba yung katawan at yung body, paano tuloy sila nagko-connect. Sinagot na lang siya ni Descartes na pineal gland. Yun din yung pinaka-center or driver ng ating soul. Nasa center daw siya ng ating brain. Pero yun nga, kung ganun pala, di ba parang driver ba ang soul ng ating katawan na parang robot tayo, tas may soul na nagko-control doon? Kung ganun, sino ngayon nagko-control ng soul na nagda-drive sa atin? Syempre may another driver yon. And kung sino man yung nagda-drive ng soul natin, may driver din yung nagda-drive ng soul na yon. Okay, so nagkakaroon tayo ng infinitum. Okay, sino ang nagda-drive ng soul na nagko-control sa'yo? And so on and so forth. Okay? Maraming sumunod dito like epiphenomenalism, property dualism, tapos sumunod na dito yung mga behaviorism, mga philosophy of mind problem, um, ano pa ba? Identity theory, and so on and so forth. Hindi ko na siya i-discuss because hindi naman tayo philosophy of mind. Okay? Even if Descartes recognizes the unity of man's body and soul as truth based on experience, he emphasized that this is not a philosophical truth. Okay? So, ayun. May mga other concept of self din tayo accordingly sa mga ibang philosopher. Halimbawa, sa isang religious belief, di ba? You are just a soul before God and else your worldly goods and accomplishment, even your physical body and its various pleasure and pain is it's insignificant or unimportant. Okay, so I think it's somewhat related to Augustine in St. Thomas Aquinas, pero ito mas lesser ang concept nila ng body. Okay. Sa Eastern view naman, both Hinduism and Buddhism, yun nga, if you're quite aware with it based sa tinuro ni Sir Ronel, di ba, the self is ultimately unreal. That there is no self at all and only an illusion of one. Definitely sa Hinduism, illusion lang ang ating katawan because there is a Brahman and Atman is only an illusion. What makes us think that we are a separate identity is because of the Maya, di ba? Sa Buddhism din may Maya tayo, pero ayun nga, wala siyang concept ng Brahman and Atman, pero yun nga, akala mo hindi tayo connected with the world. Okay, and ayun, anyway. Pre-Socratic naman, syempre meron tayo si Anaximenes, di ba? Si Anaximenes, para sa kanya, ang basic substance kasi ng universe is air. So definitely our soul, which is air, rules us. Okay. So, yun nga, ang soul daw natin ay hangin lang. So, pag namatay daw tayo, di ba, pag limbawa, or may nakita kayong namatay, di ba, may last breath siya, according kay Anaximenes, ito daw yung parang paglabas na doon ng soul natin. Okay, sa katawan natin, kasi nga, air, yung soul natin. Kay Heraclitus naman, para sa kanya, ang primary substance na binubuo ng reality is change, or when it comes to element, fire yun. Okay. So sinabi niya, ang soul is a fairy vapor, evidently identifying it with warm breath of living creature. Kaya doon kapag humihinga tayo, warm ang ating breath. Kaya Anaxagoras naman, on the other hand, naniniwala siya ang primary substance na binubuo yung ating universe is nous. Okay? Kasi lahat ng movement sa universe natin is somewhat may mind or sumusunod siya sa certain law. Kaya sabi niya mind or nous. Mind or reason, call mind as the finest of things. So basically, our soul is composed of this nous. Okay. Kay Democritus naman, definitely he's an atomist. So naniniwala siya na soul is consists of fine, smooth, round atoms, which are also atoms of fire, air, water, and earth. Okay. Life lasts just as long as we breathe in and breathe such atoms. So definitely. Si Gabriel Marcel naman, on the other hand, sa kanya, ito, diniscuss ko na to sa inyo previously, definitely, ang self, accordingly kay Marcel, can be reduced in two forms then. The primary and the secondary. The primary is definitely, this is based from the scientific knowledge that was given to us. Diba? Like your height, your body type, your skin color, your ethnicity, lahat ng facticity or historicity na binibigay sa atin ng science, this is also us. But these are only called primary reflections. Pero totoo to. Okay, because these are the first thing that being observed sa katawan mo. Pero alam naman din natin na hindi lang tayo yung mga facticity and historicity na sinasabi ng science. Okay? There are something that beyond that. Ito yung nasa secondary reflection. Na alam natin na yes, Sarah is 5 feet. Sarah is Asian. Sarah is Catholic. Sarah has a blood type A, and so on and so forth. Alam natin na totoo yun, pero at the same time, hindi lang ako yun. Okay. Kasi ito yung sinasabi ni Marcel. The self is, yun nga, sabi nga dito, man's embodiment is not simply a datum alongside other data, but the primary datum that is the starting point and basis of any philosophic reflection. So, yun nga, kaya dinifferentiate niya, may primary tayo at may secondary reflection. Primary reflection, di ba? Ito yung anything that's given to us by science, yun nga, ob rectum, ang tawag niya doon, thrown in front. Ito yung mga bagay na wala tayong magagawa. Kasi ito yung na talaga tayo, kung ano ito yung DNA natin, ito yung kinalakihan natin, ito yung itsura natin. It has nothing to do with myself, nor I do have anything to do with it. Because I have, di ba, kung ako na lang, kung kaya ko namang paguhin ng itsura ko, bakit gusto ko maging 5 feet? Di ba? Bakit gusto ko magkaroon ng tigawat na napakadami? Siyempre, it's not of my control because that is the primary reflection. It's something to do with my DNA, with my genetic chemistry. Kaya nga, the body studied here is no longer my body, but a body. So it is a property. It is an object. Okay? In the primary reflection. On the other hand naman sa secondary reflection, di ba? In this kind of reflection, I recognize that I am part of the thing I am investigating. And therefore, my discussion is subjective. Yun nga, na-realize natin na aside from when I'm thinking of my body, I am also being part of that body. Okay? So, I am thrown beneath. Okay. In using the secondary reflection, we discover that what exists is not a body, but my body. So, meron ng subjective experience yung mismong body na ginagalawan mo. Yes, I am 5 feet. So, definitely, my experience of the world is within 5 feet. Pero, yun nga, hindi lang siya limited doon. Yes, totoo. Mayroon talagang ibang experience ang mga taong mas maliliit kumpara sa taong matatangkad. Okay, pero hindi ka nalilimit lang doon. Because yes, there are difference, 'di ba? Parang yung joke nila, iba ba yung temperature sa maliliit na tao sa taong matatangkad, 'di ba? Pero at the same time, yes, there are different experience from a tall person, from a small person, pero at the same time, hindi lang naman yun ang limitation ng iyong experience. Okay, a body full of life, eating, sleeping, happy, etc. My body that is uniquely mine alone. Okay. Yun nga, suppose we use secondary reflection and recognize the experience of my body as the starting point and foundation of our inquiry. In that case, we can see that it does not make sense to separate the I and the body. Definitely. The reason is because the body referred to here is no longer my body, but the abstract a body. Ito din isang bagay na magandang i-take note natin eh. Yes, magandang starting point yung secondary reflection. Pero kahit anong mangyari, hindi natin masaseparate ang body natin from us. Okay, yes, that is us. Pero at the same time, hindi tayo naglilimit dito. Kaya nga, di ba, mayroon siyang tinatawag na existential fulcrum. Yung paradox na I am my body, pero at the same time, I am not. Ako yung taong kaharap ko sa mirror, pero at the same time, hindi lang ako yun. Because I know, di ba, I go beyond my reflection of my mirror. Just goes with philosophizing. That is my body, pero please do not limit me on my body alone. Because I can go beyond that. Yun nga, it seems that having or possessing is also my relationship with my body. There is a validity in liking I have my body to I have my dog. Ito, hindi ko siya previously diniscuss. Okay? Pero, dapat diniscuss ko to sa phenomenological method ni Marcel, pero hindi ko na masyadong diniscuss. Okay, parang daw ganun yung sa dog. Sa ibang tao, ang dog sa kanila is aso lang. Okay, pero kapag ikaw ay may aso, yung tingin mo sa aso na yun ay hindi lang aso. So yung family member yan, may pangalan yan, may personality yan. Okay. So parang ganun yung katawan natin. Okay, yes, ito yung katawan, pero hindi lang ang katawan mo ganun. May nararamdaman yan, may iniisip yan. Okay. There is, yun nga, there is not the case of with my body, our location and history are inseparable. Wherever I'm here, there is also my body. And wherever my body is, there I am too. So isang bagay din yan na maganda sa existential fulcrum ni Marcel is that, yes, I am my body. Everything that I experience is based on my body, pero hindi lang ako yung katawan. Kaya nga paradoxical siya. 'Di ba? So anyways, yun nga, maganda ding bagay na tandaan natin when it comes to Marcel, my body is not an instrument. 'Di ba? Sabi niya, if my body were an instrument, it would need some other body that extends and reinforces that this body would also need another body. Parang yung sinabi ko kay Rene Descartes. Kung ang pineal gland is yung seat ng ating soul to control our body, definitely, dapat may nagko-control din sa soul na yon na nakasit sa pineal gland natin. At kung sino man nagko-control ng soul na nakaupo sa ating pineal gland, dapat may nakaupo din doon. So nagkakaroon tayo ng ad infinitum. Parang ganito sa katawan natin. Kung ang katawan natin ay instrumental lang, dapat may magja-justify sa katawan natin what makes it instrumental. And at the same time, kung ano man yung justification natin, what makes our body instrumental, may magja-justify din sa kanya. And so on and so forth. Kasi di ba pag sinabi nating instrumental, value ang isang bagay, it needs justification from other to have its value. So kung ganun ang katawan natin, then definitely dapat may magja-justify sa kanya. Eh hindi, 'di ba? Definitely we will not adhere to this problem of fallacy, yung ad infinitum. Okay. Ang sinagot lang ni Marcel dito, the body that I can say I have is a body object, a body. And this is the body studied by primary reflection of the sciences. But if I treat my body as only a possession of its being, mine loses its meaning. Kasi, tandaan din natin, yes, ang body can be described or can be reduced by measurement, by data, by height, by experimentation. Pero hindi yan possession. Kasi pag naging possession yan, di ba, nawawalan ng meaning ka. Kasi yung meaning mo din as who you are is based on your body. Although aware tayo na we go beyond that. Pero the primary way in order for us to understand ourselves is based on the primary reflection. Okay? Di ba halimbawa ang sinabi ko sa inyo, di ba, kapag nakakilala ka ng tao, ang unang-unang mong papansin sa kanya katawan. Kasi ito yung public. Okay? At kapag tinanggalan natin ng, sabi natin yun, tinake, tinake lang natin to as something the possession, na hindi siya something that helps us create our essence as a human being. Okay? Nawawala ng saysay. Kasi, okay, possession mo yun, so sino ka? Yes, like I said nga, yes, we are aware that tawag doon, our body is not us. Pero at the same time, our body is us. So, dapat hindi siya mawala doon sa status na yon. Kasi pag nawala siya doon, ano na ngayon magiging starting point? Kasi in order for you to reach your secondary reflection, you have to first have your primary reflection. Two steps siya eh. Diba? Sinabi ko sa inyo to previously, step by step siya. Next naman, the experience of my body is the experience of I body or the body subject. Here, secondary reflection recorporates and states that there is no gap between me and my body. In short, I am my body. Kaya nga sabi ko, if you remove this essential connection between your body and your soul or yun nga, the cogito, di ba? At ginawa mo siyang possession lang, nawawala na ngayon na identity ka kasi part of your identity is of your body. You cannot separate that. The experience of my body is what Marcel calls the non-instrumental communion. My body cannot be framed in an instrumentalist idea even if I only think of it. Kasi nga, ang katawan natin, hindi siya instrument. It's part of us. It is one of the many characteristics that define who we are. Kasi di ba sabi ko sa inyo, primary reflections help us to go to the secondary reflection. If we remove the primary reflection, okay, mawawala yung secondary. The life of embodied spirit naman on the other hand, yun nga, when it comes to experiencing the world by the means of our body, nare-realize din natin na I cannot detach my body from myself. Yes, our self can create imagination. Pero this imagination is still a product of the experience that your body had. So you cannot separate those things. There are two things that happens by chance to be together. Rather, myself is absolutely embodied. You cannot separate it. Diba? When you experience the heat of the Philippines, you experience it as a person with a body. Kasi kung wala kang body, hindi mo mararamdaman na mainit sa Pilipinas. So every experience that you experience is because of your body and you cannot separate it with yourself. Though you are aware that you are not just your body, pero part yun ng existence mo. Part yun ng essence mo. I cannot reduce myself to my body. I also experience myself as an I, spirit, and will that can never be imprisoned in my flesh and bones. Kaya nga, existential room. Paradox. Ito yung kanina ko pang sinasabi. This is precisely the danger of any primary reflection. Our inquiry becomes clear and distinct, but we can get farther away from the real experience. Okay, alam natin yon, di ba? We can think beyond our body. Di ba? Just like having empathy with other people. Kahit hindi mo nararamdaman or hindi mo pa na-experience na ibang tao, nagkakaroon ka ng empathy. Nag-go ka beyond your body, it's because of your cogito. It's because of yourself. Pero ang naglilimit sa'yo to experience that as well is your body. Because di mo naman talaga siya na-experience in the first place. It's just that your mind can identify with the person that you're giving empathy with. Okay. The paradox in the experience itself, and this should be the one described by philosophy by means of secondary reflection. Okay. Another thing then, one, malinaw na when you're experiencing the world, you're experiencing it from the body perspective. Tandaan mo din, ang body is, dalawang meaning yan, a bridge and an obstacle. Ang body mo as a bridge because siya nga ang nagbibigay sa'yo ng opportunity to feel the temperature, to feel the texture, to feel the food you're eating. Siya din yung nagbibigay sa'yo ng opportunity to see, to hear, and to feel. Pero at the same time, it is an obstacle because you are limited on that certain experience. So halimbawa, kapag nakita ko ang upuan, okay, na may ganitong distance sa akin, bridge siya. Kasi it's because of my body that I'm able to perceive the chair or the table that has this distance sa akin. Pero at the same time, may obstacle because I am only limited on that certain experience. Pero tandaan natin later on kasi, or di ko na pala matuturo yun, pero kasi may sinabi ang mga phenomenologists na kaya daw natin mag-go beyond do sa perception na nakikita natin. Okay, anyways, yun nga. I experience myself as being in the world through my body. Like I said, embodied spirit tayo. My body acts as intermediary between the self or subject and the world. Okay, yun nga. Intermediary, ibig sabihin lang yan, either a bridge or an obstacle. When I saw my body in the intermediary between myself and the world, I refer to the two meanings of intermediary. On one hand, because of my body, an encounter and agreement occurs between myself and the world. Yun nga, yung experience. Because of my body, I have an experience of near and far, up and below, and many other relations in space. Kasi nga si body ang nakaka-receive nun. So, bridge siya sa self and the world. On the other hand, because of my body, I experience the world as separate from me and not the world. And the world is not ganon. Diba? Yun nga, kasi tandaan natin, halimbawa, yun nga, distance of my table or the table between me, okay, yes, talagang may distance yan. Pero at the same time, hindi lang yan ng mundo. Okay, nangyari lang sa iyong experience ng distance na yon, nangyari iyan yun. Pero yung experience mo na yun cannot be replicated by anyone else. Okay? Kasi may sarili kang lived experience doon sa distance na yon. Okay, halimbawa, isip ako, apple. Yung apple na to, kinain mo siya. So yung pagkain mo ng apple na yon, it's because of your body, you experience that the apple is sweet. Pero tandaan mo, yes, that is a bridge. Your body is a bridge, pero at the same time, it's an obstacle. Because your lived experience of eating that apple is ikaw lang ang nakaka-experience niyan. Halimbawa, yung apple na yun, malalim yung meaning sa'yo kasi binigay yun ng crush mo. So, kinain mo yung apple na yun, sobrang tamis. Pero yung ibang apple, yung ibang tao naman, kapag kumain sila ng apple, kahit binigay ng crush nila, hindi nila mamimimik yung same experience na meron ka. Because that is your lived experience. Okay. And that lived experience does not actually show the real world because that is only you. That's based on your interpretation and your relationship with the world. For Pero at the same time, it reflects the world. 'Di ba? Kaya nga paradoxical eh. 'Di ba? Sa totoo, kinain mo yung apple, kasi nga bridge yung katawan mo, pero at the same time, yung paglasa mo sa apple na yon ay partially true because meron kang sariling interpretation doon. So may obstacle ka, at the same time may bridge ka. Okay. My body shows that I am not simply a thing among other things in nature because may sarili akong lived experience. Kapag halimbawa, lahat kayo, nakikinig kay Ma'am Sarah, iba-iba kayo ng lived experience. It's because iba-iba kayo ng experience or perspective or horizon when encountering me. At iba-iba, kahit anong mangyari, iba-iba kayo na nararamdaman doon. Siguro may partially na nag-agree kayo doon, pero yung buong buo niya ng live experience, hindi nyo mamimimik kasi ikaw lang makaka-experience. If I didn't have this kind of distance from the world, I would become only a thing without an interiority. So, ang maganda dito when it comes to obstacle and bridge, okay, it's because of this obstacle or this paradox, 'di ba? Dito mo na-realize na I'm separate. Okay, I am a thinking being. I am indifferent with my surrounding, pero at the same time, I am connected with it because you're able to pause. Okay, may bridge ako between the apple and me. Na-experience sa katawan ko noon. Pero at the same time, alam ko na ako lang nakaka-experience ng ganitong experience sa apple na to. Okay, nagkakaroon ka ng pause moment. Okay. 'Di ba? I think I'm not quite sure kung na-discuss ko to sa first lesson nyo. Yung parang distance or indifference. Okay. Kailangan yun. Kasi magpo-pause tayo at ma-realize natin, oh nga no, iba kami na experience to. Anyways, the body in intersubjectivity. Okay. If my body is not only an intermediary between me and the world, but also between me and the others. Okay. So, hindi lang siya nag-work sa object. It also happens with other people. I show myself to others, and the others also show himself to me through my body. Like I said nga, di ba, when you encounter an individual, ang first thing na-encounter mo sa kanila is yung katawan. Because the body is the public. Pero yun nga, there is something hidden. Okay? Na hindi nakikita ng tao or hindi mo agad nakikita sa ibang tao. It's because it's hidden. Nasa mind natin yun eh. Yun nga, every part and action of my body says something of myself and my world. There are two facts to my body as intermediary. One, I cannot separate my intersubjectivity from its embodiment. And two, I cannot also reduce it to its embodiment. Ang sinasabi lang naman dito na every movement ng katawan mo reveals you. Okay, pero hindi lang ikaw yun. Kasi nga may internal world ka. Halimbawa, kung nagsalita si isang taong ganito, bastos siya magsalita, ibig sabihin ba bastos agad siya? Yes, it could say that this person is bastos magsalita, pero hindi lang siya yun. Meron siyang internal meaning kung bakit siya ganun ang language niya. Okay. The spirits needs to be expressed and realized in my body, but my body cannot fully state all of my subjectivity. So, isang bagay din nun. Okay. Definitely. Di ba kaya ang dami nating uri ng language, di ba? Some other people are good in speaking language. Some other people are not good in speaking language, pero magaling sila sa body language. Pero yun nga, accordingly dito, hindi pa rin enough. My subjectivity transcends in expanse and depth its embodiment. The paradox of I have my body and I am my body also applies to my interrelationship with others. Definitely. Diba? If you are having this conversation with someone or in love ka sa tao, diba? Well, sometimes yung body mo ay in harmony with what you're thinking. Pero usually, kasi since ang mind mo is hidden, okay, yung body lang yung nakikita, akala na mga ibang tao, uy, nanlalamig na ba to sa akin? Diba? Ang nagkataon lang na yun lang talaga ang body disposition mo. Okay, anyways, ayoko nang pahabain. The value of the body. As the appearance and expression of my subjectivity, my body has a unique value and dignity. It directs me not only to the world and to others, but also to God. Yun nga, maganda rin sa body, it's because you can use that body to express yourself. Diba? Yun nga, you can, yun nga, your body can be unique based on how you think of yourself. Okay, your body can also be used as a bridge to express yourself towards your love for other people, your care towards the world, or your care towards God. Kasi yun talaga si katawan, bridge siya. Pero tandaan natin, every time you do an action, yes, the body is a bridge, pero at the same time, it's an obstacle. Because it does not mean you are a faithful person, you're a good person. Alam natin yan. Kaya paradoxical siya. On the other hand naman, ano naman sinabi ni Jose A. Cruz sa kanyang A Note on Embodiment? Actually, halos lahat kasi nandoon na sa first part. Okay. More likely, nagdadagdag lang siya ng knowledge. Sabi niya, embodiment is awareness of experience of our body. The experience of our body is the first datum we have of ourselves, definitely, because it's part of our primary reflection. Far clearer in consciousness than even knowledge of our person. Yun nga, we all know that our bodies have height, surface, thickness, color, etc. Kasi, yun talaga yon. Our body is our primary reflection. Our specific point of view is the body as human experience as the body of man. Definitely, that's the first thing we notice. Di ba, akala mo ang mundo mo is tungkol about pleasure, pero realize ka, ang mundo pala hindi lang about pleasure, experiencing reality. Ang mundo, it's also about the internal world na meron ka, on how you interpret those lived experience. What insights can we get from the ultimate meanings of man's body as a human experience? Ano ba makukuha natin doon? Actually, ito yung sinagot ni Marlo Ponte. Okay? May case siya ni Schneider. Si Schneider kasi yun nga, Schneider is a German soldier na nakaksidente, okay, na nagkaroon, naputol yung connection between his right and left hemisphere. I think siya yun. Okay, kaya nagkaroon siya ng disconnected sensations. Okay. Sabi kasi dito, usually our sensations form a synergetic pull. Okay? Movement of my eyes already contained a motor reflex context of distance and motion to be transferred. Halimbawa, di ba usually kapag in pain ka, mag-wins ka. Kasi yung pain na yon, syempre sensation ng pain, ang sensation ng pain na yon is connected with a motion reflex na mag-wins ka. Kasi yung wincing is also a sensation. So lahat ng movement mo or lahat ng ginagawa mo sa katawan mo is in relation with a, sabi natin, mental sensation kasi may bodily sensations ka. So connected siya lagi. Pero paano nga kapag nagkaroon ka ng same case about kay Schneider? Di ba? Kasi sinabi natin previously, our body is the bridge, okay, towards the self. Paano kung naputol yung gap na yon? Hindi na ngayon nagko-connect yung mental sensations mo sa bodily sensations mo. Okay. Actually, I don't think nasagot ito. Okay. Okay. So, paano pag nangyari yon? But for Snyder, an order to open the door would evoke the movements of opening an imaginary doorknob with his hand because the actual door and doorknob are several feet away. So yung mental sensation niya, na akala niya malapit yung pintuan niya, ay malayo ito sa physical sensation na malayo talaga siya sa pintuan kasi nga walang connection. Kaya si Snyder, akala niya nagbubukas siya ng pintuan, okay, sa mind niya, pero hindi pala. Pag hinahawakan ng katawan niya, wala siyang pintuan na hawakan. Schneider's reaction is precisely this way because his sensations has lost their synergetic unity, a tragic effect of his brain injury. So dito, kinumpare nila yung abstract knowledge versus embodied knowledge. Pag sinabi nating abstract knowledge, ito yung knowledge na lalaman natin. Pag sinabi kong open the door, may abstract knowledge ka na you should open the door, yung understanding mo, okay, versus sa natural reflex mo of opening a door. Kasi iba yung alam mo sa natural mong ginagawa. Okay. So, maganda experiment dito, experiment number 1. Schneider being asked by his doctor to touch his forehead. Ito ay isang example ng abstract knowledge kasi he's trying to process the language, okay, and from that language, mental sensation, ire-reflect niyo sa physical. Eh since disconnected ang physical niya sa mental, unsuccessful siya. Pero, kumpara yun sa natural, okay, na reflex ni Schneider ng sweeping the fly off his face. Kasi ito natural yun eh. Di ba minsan reflex natin yun? So dito, okay, di na kailangan ng ng connection of the mental and the physical. Kasi natural na pag may fly, gagawin mo. I'm not quite sure kung ano nangyari yun. Pero ang parang lumalabas dito, may connection pa rin yung brain at body, pero parang baliktad eh, other way around. Parang nauuna yung body before the mind. Pero dapat mauna kasi yung mind before the body. Another thing din, Schneider's reaction to the whole command, okay, language ang ginamit, versus verbal communication. Okay. So, kitang-kita natin when it comes to language, sa mental, papuntang physical, nagkakaroon ng disconnection. Pero kapag physical, papuntang mental, walang problema. Kasi reflex. Or baka purely physical lang yun. Kasi maaring, ano lang yun eh, physical thing lang. Hindi na niya kailangan interpretation when he's sweeping the fly off his face. Okay. Nakikita natin dito, verbal communication is no guarantee of knowledge unless there is a consequent embodiment of such concept. Pag sinabi nating embodiment, yun nga, naging natural na sa iyo na, yun nga, embodiment, na aware ka sa kinikilos mo. Okay. So, pag sinabi ko, halimbawa, mag-open ka ng door, okay, hindi siya embodiment because kailangan mong proseso yun sa brain mo kung paano mag-open ng door. Kumpara naman sa iiwas ka kapag may magbabato sa'yo ng bola. Definitely, yung pag-iwas mo sa may babatong bola sa'yo is a natural reflex kasi kahit naman hindi mo pag-aralan yun by language, alam mo na dapat kang umiwas pag may babato sa yung gamit. Kahit bola man yan or itak yan or kung ano man. Okay. Yun nga, Schneider versus spitball. Diba? Schneider will only touch the part of his body where the ball hit him versus a healthy man will avoid or dodge the ball. So, kitang-kita natin dito kay Schneider, okay, medyo nahihirapan siya kapag yung bola tatamaan siya. Magre-react lang siya sa katawan niya. Kasi yung mind na niya, very slow to process because there's no connection between the mental and the physical. Pero once the bola tumama sa kanya, marirealize niya, tumama sa kanya yung bola, kaya hawak. So too late na yung mind niya. Schneider seemed to have lost his intentionality, the intentional quality of his human existence, and in the process was open to stimulus at the moment. Kasi nga hindi na niya na-foresee or more likely, hindi na nga nagko-connect yung mind niya sa body niya. Conclusion, a healthy human seeing the spitball being thrown at them evoke the meaning of safety and the body in this synergetic unity makes this meaning incarnate, dynamically visible in an appropriate body symbol or gesture. So, definitely, ang nangyari kay Schneider, since nagkaroon nga ng disconnection about mental and the physical, kahit meron siyang mga physical reaction, his mind is too slow to react to it. Pero nakikita natin may connection talaga. Okay, does it prove na ang body and soul are separate? Or pwedeng ma-separate? No. Pero makikita natin, important ang connection ng dalawa. Because in order for your mental to work, it has to have a clear connection of your body. At kapag naputol yun, di mo makikita natin yung disconnection ng kanyang movement na, inuutusan siya magbukas ng pintuan, uh, kumpara sa, um, halimbawa, pipikit siya or hihiga siya. Kasi mga natural yun eh. Okay. So, parang ang nangyayari dito, may na-experience si Schneider sa body pero hindi pumapasok sa self. Kasi pag pumasok siya sa self, papasok na niya sa intentionality, iisipin na niya yan. Kapag inisip na niya yan, magiging successful yung movement niya. Pero yun nga, kahit naman isipin niya yon, okay, pero unsuccessful pa rin ang movement niya, ibig sabihin, hindi nag-work yung intentionality. Okay, so ayun. Okay. So, dialectic meaning of gesture, meaning, and symbol when it comes to structure. Embodiment is to make incarnate a meaning which proceeds from the inner person of a man and makes it visible to present through proper body structure or gesture. Ito yung sinabi ko, di ba? Since hindi siya lumalabas kay Schneider, okay, so ibig sabihin, hindi din talaga bumababa yung intentionality niya. Okay, sa katawan. Okay. The meaning proceeds from the inner core of humans and is made incarnate through body gestures. Okay. So when a phenomenology speak of the world, he does not really mean the world of things, but a network of meanings in which and on which, around which a man organizes his life. So ibig sabihin, ang world na sinasabi dito ng mga phenomenologists is hindi yung material world. na earth lang. Ang world na ito is something that has meaning for the subject. Just like kay Schneider, okay, since nawala na ng meaning ang world sa kanya kasi disconnected na nga yung kanyang uh, sensations, okay, nahihirapan siya ngayon i-connect. Kasi yung world, okay, or yung self na nag-i-interpret ng world is disconnected na ngayon sa body na na nag-express ng gesture ng self naman. So nagkakaroon ng disconnection. It is really the world of ideas that triggers movement towards change, specifically social change. Okay, so kaya ayoko nang anuhin. Anyways, so ayun. So ito lang ang ating discussion about the self.